If you don't have to watch the whole video, but I realized I went to Vietnam to realize I didn't need to go to Vietnam, but I needed to go to Vietnam so I could figure that out. You know what I mean? Like, I grew up in the suburbs of Vancouver, and even though it's a big metropolitan, still everyone goes to the same elementary school, high school, get a 9-to-5 job. I feel like that's not what I wanted. I thought I was special, you know? I knew that I was able to do a lot more that the city itself couldn't really provide for me. Maybe it was my own thoughts of like, I need to go somewhere to become someone. But one thing I realized when I was living here in Vancouver is the more I live in one of the most expensive cities, I would say the more constantly stuck I was in survival mode. And that really affected a lot of the things in my decisions in my life that it kept playing out. To move it back, it's like I'm in a damn rat race again. Gotta get another job. And it's like you can't really think about creative. You can't think about what are my dreams when your stomach be rumbling and the job market, housing, you know the deal.
This train is for Waterfront.
I remember when I was like 19, 20, even after like finishing college, university, all I wanted to do was get a job, you know, work downtown. And then you work your first office job, your salary job, whatever it was like, and you're like, huh, is this it? Because you kind of get taught what everybody else is taught. Go to school, work in the downtown core, and now you're good, right? But little did you know, I'm more miserable than I've ever been. And I can't do this for the next 20 years of my life. And I realized that being in one of the most expensive cities, immigrant parents, you just get taught to just always be in scarcity and survival mode. Don't take risk. Don't stand out. Kind of just follow the herd. Follow the crowd. And now I'm here. After living in Vietnam, I'm like, holy crap. My whole life was just on survival mode. But it took me going to Vietnam to realize that, you know? Here we are in a downtown city core. We have the Microsoft building there. And honestly, one of the most expensive rents down here, which is most people, unless you're rich, you don't really live here. So just finished a podcast with John Mama, very popular content creator based in Vietnam, but originally from Vancouver Island.
Grow được á?
Grow together.
Anh có thấy thế không?
Yeah, because like if you look around, like everybody's kind of individual, is bản thân, just care about themselves.
Yeah.
And if I didn't go to Vietnam and I didn't do all that, then I wouldn't have had this opportunity, which is kind of crazy. Maybe if it was my own survival mindset, but I couldn't do what I'm doing now. There's no way. And it took me leaving Vancouver and doing something for me, like stepping outside of the box. Because when I'm always in survival mode, I'm constantly thinking about just the minute I was already back in Vancouver, I was like, oh man, your average coffee is like $7, bro, plus tip. You're paying $10 for a coffee. Average rent, you're looking at $2,000 if you want to live down here, 2 to 3. And when you're in your 30s, you don't want to be living with roommates no more. The cost of the meal is like $30. I'm like, oh man, I gotta start getting another 70K job, 80K job, and be a part of this race. And I was like, I don't want to be a part of this race. Like, I work hard, but I feel like it's not going anywhere. I feel like I was just stuck. I'm like, there has to be a solution. There has to be a way. And for me, that was going to Vietnam, and trying to take a break. I can breathe because of it doesn't cost as much. It comes with privilege, connect with my roots, understand my parents more. And when you're in a constant place of struggle, survival, you have a place for creativity. There's nothing wrong living with Vancouver. It's just I would be here for another 20 years, working some okay job, and not really doing anything with my life. That's what I was feeling. Everyone in Vancouver is kind of like the culture where it's like everyone kind of sticks to themselves. There isn't like a community or collective or other creatives. Where I felt like in Vietnam, it's much more of like a creative community effort. It's the same thing I learned when I was in Vietnam is everywhere you go or everywhere you travel, the novelty will wear off. And Vancouver's a beautiful city, right? Developed, slow. Everything you want is here. But then it comes back to what's your purpose? Why are you here? Because a lot of people choose to live in Vancouver, I guess, but my parents had me here. But do I choose to be in Vancouver? Not really. So in 2019 is when I gave up my YouTube dreams because I wanted to play it safe, right? Do what I should normally do. Get a 9-to-5 job. I actually took an office job right here in this building. I'm gonna take y'all. I remember taking the bus, walking through here, 30 grand a year, which is nothing. But then I thought, this is how I'm supposed to do it, right? My parents, that's what they wanted for me, right? I remember come here to this restaurant. It's not bad. This is Nightingale. We would have team lunches as bonding back in the day, but right here, 1021 West Hastings. This, I remember I had a card, tap it, and then I would go in here, and 8 hours of my life would be gone like that. And I remember sitting right here with my friend, right here, and being like, eating him at lunchtime. You're like, what would our lives become? What would my life be like in a couple of years? You know what I mean? Boy, was I not ready to find that. And I was like, I was a scared kid that wanted to do YouTube dreams, but I was too damn tired, too damn scared. And I was like, I just worry about being alive, you know? And I never went all in. I was always like, half-time job, half-time content. But things always pull around and do full circle. I'm here at one of the most expensive hotels, the Fairmont Pacific Rim. Future, maybe when I have no hair and it's gray, then maybe. But for me, in this point of my life, I feel like coming back here, I'm just stuck in another race. A race that I'm like, not too, that I don't want to be a part of. And as I get older, the more I understand my parents of how hard is it to go to another country, not know the language, and try to start something. Because that's what I'm experiencing in Vietnam, right? But I know now, in the way that it's supposed to go, and it just feels right. Feels like I'm just beginning. I had the power to create and change my life, especially if I didn't like the way that it was going. No one can do that for you. Going to another place is gonna save that. You can live in the best place in the world. But if you're always in survival mode, always trying to just get by, you're gonna end up very miserable. And I feel like these 2 years, although it didn't necessarily cure my depression or my own struggles that I have within myself, I feel like I'm in a much better place than I used to be. All I'm missing now is just a wifey in Vietnam. I'm just kidding. Right here is Cole Harbor. Over there is North Vancouver, famous Stanley Park, and there's a famous Yellow Mountain over here. Vancouver is still the city that made me. right? Born and raised here. But I know that I needed to get out, even if it was just for a bit, so I can break out of this mindset. And that's something that I needed to go to get to Vietnam to unlearn that. And if I didn't go, I'll still be working another 9 to 5, back in the same race, back in the same mindset, and Vietnam was just a vacation. But we'll see. I'm going back in the bus because I sold my car, but I don't know. I don't think most people are making at least 80K a year. I look around, I'm like, I don't know how anybody else is surviving in the city, you know? I am back in downtown Vancouver today. And what am... Wait.
What's going on?